Welcome back to the Apartment-Stead. Today we are going to be canning tomatoes. So I have 7-quart bags of tomatoes here. They've been in the freezer and it is time to process them. We are going to be raw packing these, so we're not going to need much extra liquid. We're going to be squishing them into the jars and then topping them off with water. I have my water bath canner here with my jars inside waiting. We're going to cut these all up, peel them, cut them. We're going to save the skins because I am going to be dehydrating them. We're going to make tomato powder out of that for using as a thickener in soups and stews. So we are going to, because they're still a little frozen too. But because they've been frozen, the skins are going to peel right off of them, which is super nice. We are going to dice them. And we're going to try to find the most thawed ones to do this with. Get all the skin off. These are paste tomatoes. We're going to dice them up. And then we're going to put them in this bowl here. I said I'm going to try to find the more thawed ones. I do have a bunch of cherry tomatoes that are ready, so those can get peeled and just cut in half. I'm going to do one jar with you guys, and then I'm going to finish the rest of them. We're going to do a bunch of Italian seasoned tomatoes. And we're going to do just some plain. We use a lot of diced tomatoes throughout the winter, so this is the best way for me to process these. We're going to be able to blend them up if we want to make homemade sauces, but we mainly use them as just diced tomatoes. I'm going to peel and dice these. Here, we want about 1 inch pieces, so the cherry tomatoes just get split in half. All right, all, if you can see me struggling a little bit there, it's because of those paste tomatoes. The skin on them is so fine that it is difficult to peel them. For these jars, we're going to be raw packing here. So we're going to have to add, even though tomatoes are acidic, per quart, oh my goodness, I'm not gonna be able to get this open. We need, let me see, per quart we need 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. So we're gonna put that right in the bottom. Just to make sure that they are acidic enough because they are homegrown. And then I'm going to add in two teaspoons of, I have Italian seasoning here. To the ones that I'm doing Italian are going to have 2 teaspoons. The rest are not going to have anything extra. Then to pack these, getting my canning funnel here. So we're going to drop them in. This might not be enough. We'll see. So we're dropping them in, and then we're going to pack them in so that the juice fills up in between them. And then we're going about 1/2 inch of headspace here. There's the juice. So we're going about 1/2 inch headspace. I have this tool. Each one of these is 1/4 inch, so we want it on the middle, and we're not quite there yet. I'm gonna pack in a couple more. It says a generous 1/2 inch, so we can give it a little extra space. There's liquid all the way to the top here. So that's a generous 1/2 inch. And I am going to just debubble this. And then repack that in. So you actually lost some space there. Pack in a few more pieces. And these are diced tomatoes. They're diced, crushed, smashed. And that's a 1/2 inch right there. So I'm going to clean off these with a little bit of vinegar. I'm going to clean my rims with a splash of vinegar. To make sure it's nice and clean. I'm gonna put on a lid, and then I'm going to put my, we're not gonna use that lid. It's got some dings in it. I'll put this on finger tight, and then we're gonna load them into the canner as they're ready. So I am using the, let's take that sticker off there, the Complete Book of Home Preserving, the Ball Canning Book. And for this recipe, it's the tomatoes, those are my other cans popping, the tomatoes and the lemon juice. You can add salt if you want to. I'm not going to. I add that in the cooking process. So these will process at a boil for, I believe it's 85 minutes. And I'm going to finish, I can get 7 quarts in my canner here. So I'm going to finish up these 7 quarts, and then I will bring this to a boil. I will set a timer for 85 minutes once it hits the boil. And I will be back when they're done to show you what they look like. We have all of the cans filled and in the canner with about 1 inch of water over the top. We will put the lid on, and these will process, because they're quarts, they'll process in here for 85 minutes once this starts to boil. Once that starts to boil, I'll set the timer. I will definitely come back and show you what these look like coming out of the canner. I still have the frozen ones to process tomorrow. Well, I have 7 quarts in here. That'll probably be another 7-ish quarts. That's 14 quarts of tomatoes. And this is the skins from the first batch. I'm going to save these. And when I have all the skins, we're going to lay them in the dehydrator, dry them, and then we will grind them into tomato paste. It has been 85 minutes plus 5 minutes for the water to settle down. So it's time to remove these jars one by one. With the cold pack, there's always some extra space, which is totally fine. That's all tomato juice, so it's still great flavor. I'm setting these jars on this towel here so that they don't get a temperature shock. Ooh. And the liquid looks kind of green because of those Italian herbs. These are going to sit overnight. Hopefully they all seal. And I will show you another clip when the remainder of the tomatoes are done. Welcome back. It is the next day. We have the 7 quarts of the Italian diced tomatoes. They all sealed. I have the rings removed and they are in storage now. I have 5 more quarts of regular diced tomatoes in the canner right now. I have a loaf of bread down here, you'll see when I pan you down. And we are going to set up the dehydrator for our tomato skins. So I've squeezed a whole bunch of juice out of these already. I'm gonna do a little bit more so that we have all of the juice removed, and then I will bring you down here, or as much juice as possible. We're gonna dehydrate these just to make some tomato powder. So we're just gonna lay these and as single of a layer as possible. We'll show you. There's the bread there. And try to get these in thin layers. I don't think I'm gonna need all 4 of my trays on this, but maybe. We're gonna show you 1 tray, and we're gonna turn this on. We have some errands to run today, so I'll check this when we get back, but we probably won't be powdering this until tomorrow afternoon. It is the Super Bowl today, so we are going to be gone this evening. So when I get home from work tomorrow, Valentine's Day, we will make some tomato powder. Again, I'm going to be using this tomato powder in soups and stews that I'm not using canned tomatoes in to give it some flavor. I can also use this, I can make tomato paste out of it for any recipe that calls for tomato paste, as well as I can just use it as a thickener, using it as tomato paste. So because I squeezed all this, it's really hard to get them all separated. This is the skin, so the only thing that has gone to waste on these tomatoes has been a little bit of juice that hasn't been really enough to can, and it was hard to save the way that I had everything packaged up. So we're not saving that. Ideally we would, but normally I wouldn't be, or last year I guess, I didn't do this step, so we wasted the juice and the skins. This year we are wasting way less product. The best thing about these tomatoes is that I harvested them around August and September, and it is February, and we are just getting time to process them. We froze them all winter long. So when I froze them, I cut out the stem part, I scored the bottom, and then I just put them in Ziploc bags. I froze them, I let them thaw, and after they thawed, I peeled them, diced them, and we canned them. So you can really process them whenever you have time. The end of summer, fall, and the holiday season is extremely busy for me at work, so I was not able to make the time to do this. So now that the holiday season is over, I'm able to pull these out of the freezer and do this. I will be back with you tomorrow. I'll show you the final product of our jars. We have 12 quarts of diced tomatoes, which is way more than I was able to put up last year. So I'm super excited, and we will see what this turns into. It's going to be a small amount, but it's going to be great. So in this clip here, I'm showing you the process of grinding up the dried tomato skins. They actually dried for a little over 2 days on and off. Being in and out of the house, I had to plug it in and unplug it, and plug it in and unplug it. So now I'm getting the time to process these. I do have no sound on this part of the video because the blender is extremely loud. The blending process here took a lot longer than I was expecting. With my blender, I have a multi-layered blade, and the way that it's shaped, it didn't blend as efficiently as it would blend a smoothie or something of that sorts. So now I'm taking the top off, and I'm going to show you kind of what it looks like. But it wasn't quite ground enough. So I decided to add more, and thinking that with the more product inside, the better it would blend. All right, now we are done blending here. I'm showing you how fine I went with this. I could have gone a little finer, but I just didn't feel the need to go any finer. This will work for what I'm using it for. This glass container here is one that I saved from my work. I save all glass containers that I come across and I'm able to get my hands on for these reasons here. All right, all, you want to see what we ended up with? We started this project video with 7-gallon Ziploc bags of frozen tomatoes. We ended up with 12 quart jars of diced tomatoes. These are the plain ones. We ended up with 5 jars there. And then we have the Italian. We ended up with 7 quarts of that. We didn't only end up with the diced tomatoes, but we ended up with this jar here of tomato powder. I'm trying to see. This doesn't tell how much this is supposed to hold. So I'm going to take this and turn it into tomato paste. And I'm going to do this now because I'm going to use it for dinner tonight. So this is what it looks like. I could have blended it a little bit more, but I did not. So this was all the skins. I'm taking 1 tablespoon of the tomato powder. And then I have some warm water over here. And start with 1 tablespoon. And I'm just gonna make it into a paste. So that seems a little bit dry. This is 1.5 tablespoons in here. Let me turn you all down. So there's 1 tablespoon of the tomato powder and 1.5 tablespoons of warm water. And that's pretty paste-like. I'm gonna let this absorb the rest of that water. And if I need to add a little bit more before I use this, I will. I'm just gonna be putting this in soup. So I could have just sprinkled the dry powder in the soup, but I wanted to rehydrate it for you, so I'm gonna do it that way. And this smells like tomatoes. There's so much nutrition in the skins of the tomatoes. And if we're peeling them and throwing the skins away, we're not getting that nutrition. So why not make tomato powder out of it? Thank you all for hanging out with me. Many outfit changes, many days of videos. This is gonna take a while to edit and get up. It's my first one with this many clips, but I appreciate all your support and I appreciate you hanging out. Again, thank you for coming to my Apartment-Stead and learning all this stuff with me. Have a great day, guys. Bye.